Jamie and Jason were loving Arsenal's demise. On the numpty bar last night, Jason said they were beginning to lose their identity.
Who are they now? What are they? What are Arsenal Football Club as a football team now? What are they? Who are they? Because we saw over the last couple of years under Arteta, they were a team that attacked with width at pace.
Yeah.
They've always been a good defensive side. I feel Arteta has gone back to being more reliant on being, let's stay solid, we'll win games because we've got so much creativity. Well, Odegaard's gone. So they're now stuck between, what are they? Defensively solid, or are we a team that's going to score more than you? At the moment, they ain't either.
I think it just shows that how important Odegaard is for the team.
Yeah.
That's what I've over the last, say,
can't
month
rely
ago.
on one player,
I know
you?
you can't, and that's where they might have to look at and say, look, we might have to have options in that midfield area where, certain players can play a little bit deeper, or players are number 10, because they certainly have missed him. They're very similar sort of players in that midfield now. Partey, Declan Rice, who's very important for the team.
Do you know who infuriates me, Ray, at times? Martinelli. Oh, he does my head in at times.
Well, he's got that pace, isn't he? And he's got that, where he goes past players.
Alan Wells had pace.
Yeah, of course he did, yeah. But he's got to have that end product. That is the most important thing for any winger. You can beat players and do what you've got to do. But when you get into that final third, and that's probably where they've been lacking as well, that quality in that final third has not been good enough, and not creating enough chances. You could argue, look, everyone is always going to argue that need a striker, which probably on paper they do need a striker, but it's who can they get in, which, where they don't bend the rules, where they can afford to pay him, what sort of money they've got, and that I'm sure that'll be the next look at is a striker, definitely.
Could well be. So the calls were raining in texts and emails. This is
Arteta out a beat now.
Must the Arsenal fan? Edu has left Arsenal. Now it's Arteta's turn. What about that? He said it's time for Arteta to follow Edu out of the door.
No.
Edu gone. This geezer needs to go as well. It's a shambles. We could have played for another 5 months, another 5 years. We wasn't going to score. We had one shot on target against Bournemouth. We had one shot on target against Newcastle. It's a shambles, mate. I didn't want to geezer in the first place.
Well,
it's weird,
you can win Sunday, win 3 in a row now. They can go to Chelsea the weekend, get a result, win that one, and then Forest they played at home the following game, win that one, and then suddenly it's all roses again.
The classic example was Eddie Howe and Ange. Under pressure, Newcastle,
suddenly,
under pressure, Tottenham. 2 real good wins, and everyone goes quiet.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's football, though. It's all about results. It's not all about performances sometimes. It's about getting the result. And look, the last couple of performances have not been great. Look at Man City. Who would have thought they would have got beat in midweek in Champions League? Got beat at Bournemouth. I know they battered them at the end, but it's a situation. They've lost 2 games. So
advantage
that is football
now.
Advantage, definitely.
By the way, we're not forgetting Villa as well. I was really disappointed with Villa last night.
I feel gutted for him, really.
Gabby last night in the boat and all that was having a great time, but Villa last night, I'm sorry, that's a game you don't lose. I thought the keeper, is it Somner or something? I thought that's a penalty.
Yeah,
he clearly punches Moreno in the head, doesn't get the ball. It's a penalty.
Yeah, the decision went against Arsenal last night a little bit, but they did do quite well in that second half. I mean, it's just that the final third, that opportunity, but you got to give credit to the Italians, the way they defended Al. When you used to train and you used to do 9v10 and all that sort of stuff, and you try and keep the ball. Well, but they know how to get everybody.
When the ball goes wide, they've got 4 or 5 defenders central, haven't they?
Yeah, and they made some great blocks in the 18-yard box as well. So the Italians, they're still one of the best, aren't they, at defending? Back in the day, back in the era of your era, 80s, and they were superb, weren't they?
I think Atlanta
like a brick wall.
They won
2-0.
Inter won, Milan won, so it was a big couple of nights for the Italians.
But certainly they know how to get everybody behind the ball and defend very well. But they just couldn't break them down. They had lots of opportunities, lots of set plays they had. You could argue the set plays haven't been so good in recent weeks.
Martinelli annoys me. I've got to get off my chest. Listen, he's willing. He's got some pace. I think he picks the wrong options too many times.
Well, that's a sign of the top quality players, Al. Now, I was very lucky to play with some brilliant players, and I'm just going to go by one, Dennis Bergkamp. Now, usually you got 3 options, Al, as a number 10, and that's where Odegaard comes into it. He picks quite often the right options. You know, you can pass it right, pass it left, shoot yourself. Now, the top players will get 95, 90% of the time they get it right, whether to pass it left, pass it right, or shoot themselves. That's the top players. Yeah. Now, the not so good, well, I wouldn't say they're not good players still, but they get it wrong 50% of the times, where they make the wrong decisions, like you just mentioned there.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.